What's up? What's up? Welcome to the channel, ladies and gentlemen. Tonight we're going to be talking spoilers, all spoilers for Scream 6, Kills with Me, and Coriander, of course. Guys, what's going on?
Not much.
Not much.
All right.
Ready to talk Scream.
Yeah. So we've been really fortunate to have gone through the whole franchise and just having some really interesting discussions. And now with the latest installment, and Kill, you just saw it, so we haven't even talked about what you think. So this is going to be, as usual, when we do reviews, we don't really talk with each other much until we just get on live. So it's going to be interesting to see what you thought of the movie as well. Real quick, just to say a blanket hello to the folks in the live chat. Hope you guys are doing good. We got Bluckas in the chat. What's going on? And
Hey.
Blackest Eyes. What's going on? All right. Excuse me. We got Lisa. Lisa's in the chat. What's going on, Lisa?
Hey.
And Jen. What's going on, Jen?
Hello.
Jen's dealing with this horrific storm that we're dealing with too. So we're gonna hope and pray that this storm lets up. Also, we're gonna hope and pray that it doesn't interrupt this stream. So just bear with us. Like, power could go out at any time. Who knows? And we, I'm just saying. And we got the generals in the chat. What's going on, Val? Good to see you. Good to see you. Letting people know, hit the like button, subscribe, and so forth. Keep up with the rules, because you know what happens if you don't follow the rules.
Let the dangertainment begin out.
There it is.
God.
There.
I love it.
What?
I love it. Anytime you got Buster, man, it brings a smile.
That's right. That's right.
Does it?
It does. It does. Come on.
Stop it.
Come on.
Stop it.
Oh, man.
And Val, thank you so much. Putting the link for our Patreon in the live chat, and definitely if you guys would like to help support the channel, keep the lights on, that is a way that you can do it. We really appreciate it. And I think we caught up with everyone. Russell, what's up, Russell? Good to see you.
Hey.
Always there. Jason's in the chat too. What's going on, Jason? Polar's in the chat. What's going on, Polar? I know she has a lot of thoughts about Scream 6. We're going to be hopefully having a few guests jumping on the panel and so forth, so that'll be soon. So guys, let's start this thing off. Jason Dyer too. What's going on, Jason? And we got Bob's in the chat, and Sarah. Okay.
Hello.
Coriander, let's start with you. Give me your overall thoughts on this movie and what your experience was with it.
Oh, God. My experience with 5 was terrible. So this was a pleasant surprise, and I enjoyed it. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Kill, how about you, man? I mean, we haven't talked about this at all. What's your take?
I am the total opposite of Coriander.
Okay.
I really liked 5. This one was a little predictable, was not scary. It still was entertaining. Don't get me wrong. It was entertaining, but it wasn't scary. And it's the most violent Ghostface we've seen, which is a plus. But I'll go deeper.
Okay. All right. I think, and we talked a little bit about this last week, I think that this was a really fun experience as far as going to see it in the theater. For me, I'm of the mind that all 6 of these movies are really good. This is easily one of the most consistent franchises, especially in horror, as far as the legacy franchises, for sure. But for me, 5, although it was good, to me, you could get the sense that Radio Silence had to do their Wes Craven movie. You get what I'm saying? They had to bridge the gap because obviously, they wanted to pay respect to the late great Wes Craven, and you could see that in 5. To me, this movie, and they've even talked about it, where they were able to be more free and have their own stamp on this movie. This movie is easily the most different, in my opinion, of the six. This movie is easily the most different. It has a different type of energy to it as well. And I think for me, and we'll talk more about it, but to me, I think that I cared about the characters in this movie more than five. Now, part of that could be because in five we had so many damn characters. I didn't really get close to the Meeks twins. I didn't really get close to Sam or Tara in five as well. Part of that too is because we had the OG3. We had all three of them in the movie. Although Courtney and Nev didn't have a lot to do until the third act, but David, had a lot to do in the first half of five. So by not having that as part of the equation, I think it allowed six to really go deeper into what they've called the core four. Again, shout out to our good friend Steven from Craving Something Scary, who coined that phrase months and months and months and months ago. When I saw it in the theater, Corey, and I don't know if you remember, but when Chad said, you do remember, okay, when Chad said, come on, bring it in, we're the core four, I lit up and I was like, oh my God, Steven called them that. And I really got a sense that they were a team. You know what I'm saying? And so I think that's why, or that's one of the reasons I should say, that I enjoyed six a lot more than five. To me, six has a lot more rewatchability. What I can't wait to do is watch five and then six, in a row and kind of get a vibe and see what I think of it then. But Coriander, let's talk about some of the characters. Did you have any characters in the movie that were standouts to you?
I really liked, was it the older sister, Sam, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I liked her character. I liked Tara's too. So, I enjoyed all these guys. I really don't think that Courtney, Gail had to be in this. I think it's too bad that she was. Really, her character is like the only, and the fact that in her apartment, I don't know, I just figured she'd be more accurate and wouldn't do a couple of the dumb things that happened.
Okay.
And she should have died. I'm sorry, but she should have died. So anyway,
let me tell you why she didn't die.
It's too bad.
Well, listen, and I said this too, and Radio Silence themselves said this, that they thought that would be just too cruel because obviously they killed Dewey in 5, and at some point you can't just kill everyone. Like somebody. But
come on, how many times can you escape Ghostface? Every goddamn movie, excuse my French,
right.
But every movie she's like getting hurt, like getting stabbed and shot, and she's surviving. It's like, come on, man, enough's enough. She just needs to die.
So every person that survives horror movies have to die in legacy franchises.
No, but there comes a point where it's like, come on. You can only pick a ripe apple so many times before you get a worm, right? So, come on.
How about you, Kill? Did you have any characters that stood out for you?
So okay, I can see I'm already kind of the outlier here, that I didn't like this as much as you guys, and I'm gonna tell you why. For me, the standout was the older sister, Sam. For a number of reasons. One, I really like her character and the journey of her being the daughter of a serial killer, and in this one, her even grappling with her own darkness, and I'm very interesting to see where they go with that.
Right.
And the things they're alluding to. But it's funny, Knight. You said something where I kind of disagree. You said this one you felt like you got to know the characters more than in the last movie. I kind of think the opposite, because the Meeks twins, especially the movie horror movie geek one, was very underused in my opinion in this one.
Yeah, I think she was
You know,
definitely out of the core four, she was the least used. And I think that's
well,
because they let Chad have more spotlight and plus his romance with Tara.
yeah, and he definitely has more spotlight than he did in the last film, but
Hmm.
he still is kind of a romantic plot device.
Hmm.
I just really didn't think that they did too much with them, and I think in a way it was a little bit the opposite with the last movie because you had a scene in their living room with their mom and you learned about their lineage, and
Hmm.
things of that nature. And of course
Hmm.
the sister, she did her kind of movie rules and so forth, and she
Hmm.
did it in this one, but it kind of was like to me an abridged quicker version. And some people either like that little monologue or they're like, oh, really, this again. But I agree with Coriander also with some of the legacy characters and things of that nature. But my
Hmm.
overarching issue with this kinda is, as aggressive as Ghostface is, and once again, this is spoilers, people.
Yeah, yeah, it's all spoilers.
Nobody really dies. People get stabbed and gutted up, and it's like I'm watching The Walking Dead or I'm watching Star Trek, and unless you got a red shirt on, you're gonna die. But if you're if you're the core nucleus, you'll get cut up a lot. But oh, hey, guess what? Coriander, Knight's okay, but he got
Right.
stuck like a pig 50 million times.
I
He,
agree with that.
he pulled
Chad
through,
Chad
and
should have Chad should have died. I talked about this yeah, yesterday. I think that in the movie
He's a
they had that
fighter.
a
Come
couple times.
on.
Well, yeah, they're basically it's basically the Dewey gag, how Dewey would survive each movie after getting
Mm.
stabbed and so forth. But I do
And
think
fucking
if
Gail.
Chad, well, yeah, but Dewey was the one that usually got really attacked and survived something that should
he
have
didn't
killed him,
last that
and
long
that
And
was
though.
Gail.
and that was a thing where Wes Craven originally Dewey wasn't going to survive, and Wes made that choice early on, and that became like a running gag. But to me, I think Chad should have died, and I think that would have made more weight to the whole connection and with Tara, to the Carpenter sisters in general, but especially that scene where Tara saw him basically being filleted, and I think that he should have. And don't get me wrong, I enjoyed him in this movie. I actually enjoyed him in this movie more than Mindy, which was weird because
Yes,
it was flipped for me in 5. I enjoyed Mindy more than Chad in 5.
well,
It's like,
they
what the
did
hell
more
are they
with her
doing?
too.
Flip flopping, huh?
They did more with her too in the last
They
movie.
they did. That's true. They did, which was kind of, I don't know. It's interesting. It really, really is interesting. But I do think that Melissa Barrera as Sam, I think that she was the standout in this movie, and I want to say that I'm really glad that she was, because when you have a lead, that quote unquote final girl, you really want to be behind that final girl. But in 5, I wasn't as invested in her. Now, part of that was because of the way that they depicted her. She's struggling with her mental illness and all that, and I get it. So she was kind of a subdued character. But in this movie, she wasn't playing around. She was badass, and she was taking charge. And it seemed to me that the relationship she had with her sister, we had more to feel for. They actually took some time in this movie, a couple of conversations and heartfelt moments to me that resonated more. So when we get to the third act in the shrine, I cared about them more. Whereas in 5, I was just along for the ride. Speaking of which, and let me just jump into the chat too. I know these guys are hanging out. We got Jamie's in the chat and Heroic Waffles. What's going on,
Hello.
man? What's going on, man? Castellar's in the chat saying Leslie Mocker is out there. No doubt about that. Tori,
All right.
what's up? What's up? Good to see you. And we also have a couple other people jumping in. Don't forget to hit the like button. That would help to support us. Rick Wan's in the chat. What's going on?
Hello.
Jason saying this story is a supposed cult. Is far from over. I think at least 2 of the core 4 will die in 7. There's a mastermind that is going to reveal themselves in 7. A cloud of doom seemed to hover. That is a good point, man. At the end of the movie, they definitely, started to kind of give you a sense of that. I mean, guys, here's the thing that I also enjoyed. Let's talk about this for a second. we had technically 6 Ghostface killers in this film. We've never had that, and we've been talking a lot about that for a long time. That I know I've talked about it. I wanted at least 3, right?
Wasn't it 5?
Well, was it? So we had Tony Revolori, Jason. You get it, Jason, right? His buddy Greg, right? And then we had the Baileys, right? But we did have Sam make a kill in the Ghostface costume that was literally about as violent as any other Ghostface I've ever seen. Now, I'm just playing. We definitely got 5, but even Radio Silence said, well, hey, maybe it's 6. Don't forget about Sam, which to be honest, until I heard them say that, I never thought about that until I actually heard Radio Silence themselves say.
I mean, if she wasn't wearing the costume and stabbed him, no, that wouldn't be anything.
So then
she was wearing it.
The friend that was in the refrigerator, was he wearing it?
No, but he was a Ghostface. Stop it. But let me just say this. Coriander, what you just said is exactly the way they rationalized it, because she had the costume on, she had the mask on, and she made a kill. And so they said, so that's interesting you said it like that. You're all right. Speaking of which, man, the other thing too that I talked, well, first of all, I'll start with you, Coriander, then Kill, and then we've got some guests that we're going to bring on too. First of all, what did you think about the fact that we finally had more than 2 Ghostface killers and how they operated? What did you think about that, Coriander? Because I've always wanted more than just 2.
Yeah. Like, I knew there was definitely 2, but the third one, that was a surprise. The daughter, I thought when she got killed, I thought that was it. So. Yeah, but I mean, I enjoyed that there was 3. I thought they did it pretty damn good. They handled it well,
I think so too. Kill, what did you think about having multiple Ghostface killers?
Look, Michael Myers can do it all by himself. At least up until the last movie where he's trying to transfer the evil. Jason always does it, but no, I'm just kidding. No, I liked it because it added another element, and I wasn't expecting it. And it shouts out to what was it, Roman, who was the only single ghost.
But was he though? Angeline, listen, hold on.
Roman,
look,
shouts out to you, sir.
Look, listen. Unless Roman has been studying under Harry Potter. And learning how to transport, there is no way. Well, listen, and I just watched 3 the other what was it, 2 weeks ago, Coriander? Our good friend Steven with his watch party for Scream 3.
Yep.
And listen, man, that one scene, and I'm going on a rant here, I'm sorry, but I've said this so many times. That one scene where Ghostface is chasing Sydney, right? And she kind of gets him to stumble and whatever. And she runs around. This is at the set of her old house, right? On set. She runs around the corner to the door to go into the set. Why wouldn't Ghostface chase Sydney? Instead, what happens is Ghostface comes out of inside of the set. It makes no sense. There's 2 Ghostface killers, but of course, only one is revealed, and the Weinsteins only wanted one. But I think Wes was like, screw you guys. I'm still gonna shoot this in a certain way with the audience.
You just missed the back door, right? He went through a back door, got in that closet.
So you think that was only Roman?
No, I don't know, but I'm just saying. We don't know if there isn't some kind of an entrance from the back of that set house.
Listen, he'd have to. But let me ask you this: how did he know Sydney would go into the house? She could have just kept on running.
She started. Didn't he He wasn't chasing her at that point?
He stumbled near like a table with drinks, and then she ran away. And the next thing you know, he appears from inside the house. Now, I don't know about you, but if I'm chasing you, I'm not going to turn and go the other way. I'm going to keep chasing you. Sydney's not.
Well,
Carl
he made
Lewis.
the right choice, because...
They made the right choice.
Well, look,
go ahead, Kill.
The last thing I wanted to say in regards to your question about the killers in this one is, now that the Carpenter sisters have taken out literally this entire family,
Yeah.
is Grandma going to be Ghostface in the next one? You know, because there's always somebody related to
Oh, God.
somebody. I mean, like, and I don't know about you guys,
It'll
but
be Grandpa Stu.
I knew I knew Ghostface was related to the killer from the last movie. I just
Well,
knew
yeah,
it.
yeah.
And I was just like, and for me, I was like, if I'm right, that's not a good thing if I'm right.
Yeah.
And
Right.
I was just
Exactly.
like, well, damn. You know?
Well, I will say that the motive, and I know we're going on a little bit more here, but I will say the motive for me wasn't the shining star of the movie. Like, I think at this point in the franchise, they need to rehaul their motives, just like in this movie they rehauled, some of the formula as far as, the Ghostface killers and what they do and how many there are and their intensity.
Well, I mean, essentially, this is a Scream 2 remake, and they even address it as much as like,
That's
now
true.
now we're in college, and the Ghostface in this is the parent of the killer from the previous movie.
That's
It's
true.
Like, okay, it's the family of the killer of the previous movie. So,
Yeah.
all right. Okay.
Now, and Tori was saying something too, saying I knew Quinn's death was a fake out as soon as I saw it. And let me just say this too. In the trailer, because they had in the trailers or in some of the TV spots, they show that scene where Ghostface comes up to the door, which is a fantastic cinematic scene where he comes up to the door through the glass pane window and stuff like that. Now, in that trailer, when he attacks, you can see a little bit of the outfit, and they really pulled a switcheroo on us, because that outfit, you see Quinn in that outfit in a scene where she's hanging out with the Core 4, but what we didn't see is Henry Czerny as Dr. Stone. He had on PJs that looked almost just like it, like that same design, the white with some red in it, red dots or heart, whatever it is, which really that threw me off, because I thought, based upon what I saw in the trailers, that Quinn was going to die, or at least be attacked. I didn't know for sure if she was going to die, but it was kind of, in other words, what I'm saying is I think that they were very smart in the marketing to hide so many things, because with this movie, it's always about, the mystery and so forth, Scott's in the chat too. What's up, Scott? Good to see you. And Val, thank you for putting the link down. Tomorrow night we are heading to Freddy's Dead, and there could never be a better time to join us as we go off.
Whew.
And Jamie saying, I refuse to believe Roman had a partner. He's my favorite Ghostface. Okay, all right. Jason saying, question, now that 6 is over and 7's on its way, can we talk about Phantasm? Well,
Yes.
we did do the Phantasm watch party now, so we're going to be talking about Phantasm 2. That's what we're gonna do. Boy.
Wow.
Was that pretty good?
That was
Play a
nice.
good game, boy.
Play a good game, boy. Now the game's finished. Okay, what's up, Jen? Good to see you. Bones is in the chat. What's going on? Good to see you. All right.
Hey.
The Final Nightmare is the cartoon version of Freddy. We'll definitely be definitely getting into that. Jennifer saying, I think they have a tight movie except for the motive. I really hope they do better for 7. I do too. I really do too. Yeah. What's up? Marcus is in the chat. What's going on? Good to see you. Good to see you. Hashtag Quinn didn't stab Gail. Okay. Hey, you know what? And I will say this. Let me just say this real quick. And I want to bring on the panel guest. Radio Silence, they kind of talked about the whole idea, and what we're going to do when we get the guest on, we'll talk about who killed who and stuff like that. But obviously in the movie, Quinn at the end had said that she was the one that killed Gail, and Radio Silence had talked about that was kind of their Amber moment, like in 5 when Amber killed Dewey. There are a lot of people that were like, well, someone of that stature couldn't kill someone bigger than them. Now, to me, things are possible, and that's just talking about it in a combat way of looking at it. Like when you're crazy and you're just like on the edge, and Kill, I think you know where I'm going with this, especially as a martial artist. I've seen small people do a lot of bad things to bigger people, I've
Mhm.
done it myself to bigger people. So no, I'm not saying that, like Quinn or Amber, that they're friggin' combat fighters, because they're not. But I'm just saying is that things can be possible. What do you think of that kill?
Oh yeah, definitely. Especially if you're insane.
Well,
Just
okay, well there you go.
yeah, you're insane. You have the yeah, you have a blade, you have a knife, and you have surprise on your side.
Yeah, yeah. And the other thing too, and I spoke about this live with the collective yesterday. When you get scared in that fight or flight, like you can be doing things, but your mind is working in a different zone, so to
Yes.
speak. You know what I mean? Like I've had that happen to myself. Like I know what I need to do, but sometimes I just don't do it, which is also, and again, all of this is to suspend disbelief. It's a horror movie. These are the things that you're supposed to say, okay, I'll roll with that. But you don't always make the best choices when you're scared, when you're frantic, when you're anxious, and someone's literally trying to take your life. So that's par for the course too.